Louise Brown announced her arrival in 1978. As the world's first IVF baby, she was hope for couples across the world who couldn't conceive. And today, sometimes those IVF miracles come in fours.
Mia. Melina.
They were created with a third, final round of NHS fertility support.
And so is street cleaning. These are all public health services, but
I'm from to this world in the rough and ready year of 1923. I'm from Barnsley, and I can tell you that my childhood, like so many others from that era, was not like an episode from Downton Abbey. Instead, it was a barbarous time. It was a bleak time, and it was an uncivilized time, because public health care didn't exist. No one in our community was safe from poor health, sickness and disease. In our home, TB came for my eldest sister, Marion. Tuberculosis tortured my sister and left her an invalid that had to be restrained with ropes tied around her bed. My parents did everything in their power to keep Marion alive and comfortable, but they just didn't have the dosh to get her the best clinics, find her the best doctors, or the right medicines. Felt that I was finally getting a chance to grab destiny by the shirt collar, and that is why I voted Labour and for the creation of the NHS.
The new National Health Service starts.
It's odd to think that it ever had to be explained to us.
how does the whole scheme work? Well, suppose we see how it is at present.
But in the height of the summer of 1948, the National Health Service began the job of looking after everyone equally. In the decades since, that has meant millions upon millions of stories. These are three of them.
Well, I went into shock, total shock.
It was the NHS's 50th year, 1998, when Ken was attacked. A dog bit off most of his nose. But over the course of 2 years and numerous operations, Ken's face... It was the NHS's...
Total shock. Total shock. Total shock.
It was the NHS's 50th year, 1998, when Ken was attacked. A dog bit off most of his nose. But over the course of 2 years and numerous operations, Ken's face was carefully returned to him.
I went from being somebody that was very fearful about how people might perceive my looks to being somebody that's absolutely fine with my looks. When I look in the mirror now, I worry more about grey hair and a thinning hairline than I do my nose.
Numerous operations, Ken's face was carefully returned to him.
I went from being somebody that was very fearful about how people might perceive my looks to being somebody that's absolutely fine with my looks. When I look in the mirror now, I worry more about grey hair and a thinning hairline than I do my nose.
So say it loud and say it clear in this hall and across this country. Mr. Cameron, keep your mitts off my NHS.
Right, no knowledge on NHS, right? Because there's been a bit. I was reading some comments, and there's a lot of comments written about NHS, right? And this NHS is certainly an evil thing, like, you know, like proper, it's an evil organisation or whatever. So like, so it started like the idea, right, that they make a big, big hoo-ha whatever about the fact that it's free, right? So there you go, there's your code, there's your free code, your Freemason code straight off, right? It's always the big idea on these news and that it's free. It's NHS is providing free healthcare and all this, right? And there's your coding, right? So we'll look into that, right? Yeah. And that reminds us, just as a side note about Samson. You know, like they say, Samson was had his strength when his mane of hair or something and all that. He had a strong mane of hair. That's what I was reading somewhere written in the comments and that. But he had a strong mane of hair because he was a lion, wasn't he? He was a lion, so he had a strong mane of hair. And he was a Freemason, wasn't he? Samson, S. Mason, Freemason, see? So I wouldn't say that Samson was a hero to natural people, like, or whatever, like, you know what I mean? The dirty Mason. Well, anyway, on with NHS, like, right? And this NHS, right? So they're going on about it being free and how this is good and all that, right? Like, you know, because normal peoples, natural peoples are brainwashed with the idea that, like, money and, you know, if you don't have to pay money, it's great, you know what I mean? Well, some things is worth a lot more than money, like, you know, like health and life and stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's worth all the money in the world, like, you know what I'm saying? And if these scum destroy your health and life through this NHS, you know what I mean? You better you spend, you know, £10,000 or whatever, you know what I mean? Preserve your life and health, you know what I'm saying? But this NHS and that, like, I know for a fact that this thing hurts people, hurts naturals through its programs and that, you know. So not a couple of people who are natural peoples and have had children through this NHS, and these children are coming with, like, you know, difficulties and what have you, right? Healthcare defects and stuff like that, right? And the first thing, you know, it's like difficult to say to people and all that, but the first thing I'm thinking of is, like, you know, I suppose they gave you like a course of tablets or whatever at some stage, you know, in your pregnancy and all that, you know what I mean? And it's as simple as that, basically, isn't it? You know, a course of 24 tablets or whatever, you know, at a stage in your pregnancy, and, you know, bingo, the kid comes out with some health problems or whatever, you know. And that's, like, difficult for people to take, like, but it seems to definitely be the case, like, you know what I mean? And I was reading a comment by someone and they were saying, like, how their father or their grandfather was a doctor, and that, you know, how they were, like, they knew, they were, you know, good people, and knew about medicine, and knew about healing people and all that, and I'm in full agreement, like, you know, at some stage, right, they got rid of all the natural peoples from being doctors, right? And they sort of, you know, stopped them getting into the, you know, universities and getting the qualifications and becoming the doctors and all that, getting the certificates and all that, see? Because the aim must have always been to change over to this tea drinker program, right? So they've got full tea drinkers in charge of the so-called health service, right? And this gives them, you know, free range to basically, you know, mess people's lives or mess people's healths up. You know, you talk about the idea of assassination and all that. Yeah, like a lot of these fear porn channels going on about, you know, pointing the finger at microwave weapons and, you know, 5G technologies and all BS like that. Where, you know, I'm sure that stuff isn't exactly healthy if you've gone up here. You know, if you sleep next to a microwave mast, you know what I mean. But the greatest, you know, the thing you want to be a bit more worried about and concerned about is probably this NHS, like, you know what I mean? Because this is the thing where they've basically got free access to your health, and they can, you know, do you clean in, you know what I'm saying? Like the old Macbeth ideas and that, do you in, you see? Using this NHS, supposed free healthcare system and all that. And I mean, if I was, like, personally, like, if I was having a baby or whatever through, you know, through this NHS, like, I think I'd rather be having it in the own bathroom, like, or something, you know what I mean? You know, I'm not sure what it's like if you pay for, like, the private healthcare stuff and all that, you know what I mean? Probably get a lot better service, like. But, like I say, you'd be better off having a kid on the bathroom floor, like, than through these NHS people, you know what I mean? Because the place is entirely stuffed with tea drinkers, right? From the toilet cleaner to the sort of, you know, chief consultant or whatever, you know, they're all tea drinkers, right? And I tell you, underneath this here BS about you know, looking after people and love and caring and all this, I tell you what, these people are tasked with the destructions of all the natural race, right? Properly. And that's the aim, you know, the aim of the game, and that's the big idea behind this NHS. For definitely, you know what I mean? Yeah, and like I said, the program's idea, they've got, you know, cancer and you know, other things and all that. See, it's just a whole thing to get people onto this sickness idea. You see, get these naturals out the way, you know, and get them onto a sickness program so we can, you know, euthanize them, you know, send them to death. Unbelievable, all legal and above board, and you know, with consent. See, that's one of the important things about the ideas of these people. See, is consent. You know what I mean? You give consent and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I bet you even, you know, like the idea of the contracts and all that, right? If you was to read all the small prints, read down to the last little detail, you know, I bet you'd be surprised at what you see written there. You know what I mean? But nobody reads it. See what I'm saying? Yeah, all legal, above board, and all that. You know, destruction of the natural peoples. See, pure evil. This NHS, like, you know what I mean? Pure evil.